Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to a developer Q&A stream. This week we have an Invention special.
Boom!
Mod Moltare is kind of chilling on the very edge of existence.
Do you want to shuffle in?
Do you want to shuffle in?
Training to be a ninja. There we go.
There we go. Anyway, so we have a big Invention special. There's the usual Q&A style thing. We're going to answer lots of questions. I have lots of questions. If you'd like to ask more questions, you can get them on Twitter with the hashtag on the screen at the bottom below, RSDevQA. You can also ask them in the chat throughout. But we have some new faces with us. And to kick off the stream, let's introduce everyone and then look at how we're going to structure the stream. So start with the man next to me.
So I'm Mod Ollo, and I'm a content developer currently working on Invention.
Mod Osborne, previously an elf. And yeah, just kind of been overseeing Invention in some way.
Mod Timbo, I am game balancer, game designer, and also part of the Ninja team.
Mod Moltare, I'm a game designer and I'm designing Invention.
There you go, so there's the intros out the way. What we're going to do to start off this stream is I'm going to pitch a couple of questions about Invention to you guys. You're going to pitch your thoughts, you know where it's going with the skills, elite skills, all that kind of stuff. Then we're going to have a little bit of a Rune Labs update from Mod Calpy, who's sat over there. Give us a quick update on Rune Labs, and then that's when we'll go into like the second part of all the questions, so people can ask away, and you can delve into the nooks and crannies of what they want to get.
We'll get the hype train going.
So I guess we'll kick it off with the intro on elite skills. We'll start with elite skills before we talk about Invention. Where's elite skills come from, or where have they come from?
So elite skills are our sort of way of introducing brand new high-level veteran skills to the game.
Yeah.
Sort of stripping out the level 1 to 80 sort of stuff that you get that we had in Divination that people just powered through and chewed through and got rid of and didn't really bother with it the rest of the time, and just give players and veterans and high-level players the really good content that they really want. And that's where Invention comes in as our first elite skill.
I mean, it's great. It came from Invention largely because we want to do this kind of focus on what we wanted from Invention, which was to give people a kind of a broader range of weapons and gear and tools to use at the upper end, because you've got your optimal stuff that you're always using, and as a skill, people are going to have to kind of trudge through a lot of stuff to get to the real juicy bits, the meat. And elite skill, if it unlocks as we're planning, which is
level 80,
an elite skill will always require 2 or more skills. So you can almost see it as kind of like a combination skill. Is it unlocked?
So it will require two level 80 other skills.
Other skills, that's it.
To
suddenly kind of start training this skill, which will start at level 1, and then you work your way through it. That allowed us to focus on it. We could focus on the items that would be interesting to those players. We didn't have to focus on tutorializing things. You go straight into it. There's so many things it allows us to do, and give you more items, more bang for your buck, as it were.
So I guess, like you mentioned, stripping out a lot of that earlier content that's I've passed it. It's not really for me. It's not the high-end kind of stuff I want to do.
It's like getting rid of the sign 1, 2, 3, and 4 and going straight to 5 and 6 and bang, that's awesome. And the good content.
But it's still a skill. I mean, that's still important. I mean, it's still on your skills tab.
Still your total level.
Yeah, exactly. Affects your total level. Still something that you will want to train and will level up over a course of time, and you'll unlock throughout it as well.
I guess the main thing I want to ask next is, you've mentioned unlocking 2 level 80 skills, or getting at least 2 level 80 skills will unlock.
That's what an elite skill is. Yeah.
Will this elite skill then show us level 1? Will it start at level 1 still, and then level up to? I've heard they talk about level 120.
Yeah, the plan is to start at level 1. You'd be a noob again, but it's a sort of a flatter experience curve, so it's not as drastic as it is right now. So it's it won't be 83 XP and then 126.
Do go on.
2 to 3, and it won't be 1.1 million from 90.
So essentially, we're not going to double XP every 7 levels.
That's it, exactly.
It's going to be flatter. So maybe it will start at 50 XP and then it'll go up to 60 XP and then 70 XP for a level.
It just feels so much more satisfying to do that, rather than just chewing through it. When you're at the early levels of a skill, you've gone through like 10 levels before you know it, and you can't remember what you've unlocked.
Yeah.
It's nice to hit something and actually use it. So we want to get that feeling.
It's making level ups worthwhile. Yeah. So you go, I got to level 2. That's so awesome. I know it doesn't really happen that much these days, but I mean, that's what we want. We want to get that sort of feeling of, I got level 33. I get to do this cool thing. It's
and not leave you with 70 levels worth of stuff that you maybe made a couple of dozen times while leveling through, and then we'll never touch again because there's a better version.
You made like 400 maple shortbows, and like
and now I just want to disassemble it all.
Yeah, exactly. So
Invention.
And one thing I'll quickly do is mention to the chat again. If you have just joined, we're talking with the guys here about your ideas for elite skills invention. Then we're going to later on come back to a lot of the questions. Just want to put that out there again. I don't know where to go next. Really, something I'm going to ask myself is with even though you've changed level progression, you've still surely got level 1 to 120 to kind of fill with content. Do you still not have that similar problem of having lots of content to try and put in, or is the goal to make it all high level stuff even from the early level, and that's why you needed the elite tier to unlock it to begin with?
The plan is to still fill the content with really awesome stuff. Like we still have an issue of like filling every unlock with something worthwhile, but I mean we can have things like passive abilities. So like in Invention, you are more awesome at making inventions at every level you go up, rather than just having an unlock every single
It may not be that initially there is an unlock, an actual thing that I can make or do at the next level. But if we can still work on making a level up being worthwhile, maybe there's some things that had cooldowns, suddenly you're refreshed. Maybe I gain a lamp at this level that just kind of gets me halfway there, or you know, there are things that we could play around with to make a level up still really quite satisfying. And you know how agility works, the way if you get a level up, you're still better at what you do. Maybe we can have, as Timbo says, these passive, I'm better at it, my make X is quicker, that sort of thing.
Upgraded versions of the things that you could build in the past.
Such
that things then don't become obsolete as quickly as well.
Yeah.
Rather than, you could make maple longbows, now you can make yew longbows, so you'll never wield a maple longbow ever again. If there was the equivalent of turning your maple longbow into a yew longbow, then you'd use up all of your supplies from earlier on to good ends, and then that sort of upgrade, that sort of systematic approach could benefit Invention.
But it'll be a balance. Don't worry, there'll still be unlocks, there'll still be juicy things to make and do. Don't worry.
There'll still be those awesome milestones that you want to get to. So.
Okay. Because to continue the discussion with elite skills, why not just Invention because Invention was already in the air. There's already discussion about Invention from a little way back. And then recently we've come up with the more elite skill kind of thing. Is there plans for maybe more in the future? Is it something you want to do more of? You talk about it as if you want to do, it's not a one-time deal.
I think that it's made us realise with Invention, so Invention kind of came first and then led us to the solution of elite skills. But the more we talk about elite skills, the more it excites us. Because that idea of pitching things at the end, end game content doesn't have to tutorialise. We can try out kind of like skewed versions of existing mechanics. Like we've been talking about the notion of if we had a Slayer elite skill in which you kind of maybe did finesse kills where you kind of killed things by handicapping yourself and got more reward for doing it. Maybe we could start talking about completely different mechanics. We've been talking about sailing.
Sailing.
I'm waiting for the chat.
I mean, what is level 1 sailing? You just got out of Lumbridge. Oh, I can sail. I'm going to go out in my paddle boat.
Yeah, you build
the pedalo, just going down in a swan. Trying to get from Lumbridge to Port
Swan. That sounds pretty swangy for me. That sounds more level 30.
Oh, okay, a raft, a plank.
Maybe you nailed some planks together, and that's level 1.
Or you just have a dinghy. You got to spend like 2 hours pumping the dinghy up.
But sailing could be tied more into ports. You're going exploring. The real feel of exploration.
Lands, loads of stuff.
That's really nice. I know that sailing is obviously one of the things that we mentioned previously.
We've got lots of confirmed.
But there's other ones that I really like that people have talked about. Necromancy, which is almost like a cross skill, an interrelated skill. You can have prayer, summoning, combat skills if you wanted involved in it. Imagine that it kind of crossed into summoning by bringing up undead familiars. I could use my prayer to send spirits to the underworld and things like this. There's some nice ones. I think I'm hoping we've got a poll.
We do have a poll. Do you want to talk about the poll? Before we put the poll up, can I talk about the poll?
Yeah.
And do you want to give the kind of proviso about the poll?
Just to get people excited about the notion of elite skills. And one of the things that's worth mentioning is elite skills could allow us to do skills more frequently. If we're not focusing on lower end, not focusing on tutorialising it, that sort of thing. Then we can start talking about skills again. We can start producing them possibly more frequently than we are now. And so it's just a kind of little cheeky poll on some of the elite skills that we've been talking about recently. This has come from a content survey that we're doing in a month or so time that some people will get. This content survey is kind of or allowing people to rate some of the larger updates we've been talking about. And those ratings really help us decide what we're doing with 2016, because that's the big topic in-house at the moment. That's what we can't stop talking about, what we're going to do for 2016. We've got big ideas. Obviously, there's a new design team and everything like that. In that list is a few elite skills. So we're just going to put them up there as a little kind of spoiler of that survey and see what people think. Get them voting on their favourite.
Ultimately, what's going to happen, guys, is the chat will be put into subscriber-only mode. You'll see the straw poll in the chat. Feel free to click on it, go and vote, and then we'll come back to the answer in just a second. So 2 minutes or so, 3 minutes.
Obviously, the proviso, we're not going to immediately go out and make this based on a straw poll in a live stream.
It's more of a gauging.
Yeah, why not?
The waters.
Exactly.
So ultimately, elite skills, we'll move on now from discussing a lot about elite skills, we'll move on to invention itself.
Yeah.
Invention being the first elite skill.
Yep.
What's really derived the elite skills? Anything you want to mention about invention, about it ties in with elite skills, that kind of thing?
Can we dismiss?
This is your kind of time to I don't know, talk about it as you want to before we take on the questions. So put out the information you'd like to put out there.
So I think probably step one is to say that people will have seen the concept art, some people from RuneFest a couple of years ago, where you literally strap a crossbow to the end of your godsword and then hit people with it.
I don't see what's wrong with that. That's amazing.
I think the art team saw what was wrong with that.
Okay.
It's like a bayonet on your crossbow. Right?
It's not quite like that. It does take those themes of finding uses for the things that you have with the other things that you have to make them better in some way. So you'll find yourself taking the essential crossbowness of a crossbow, the sharpness, say, of a crossbow, and using it on your godsword to make it sharper and better. A similar approach to that. And at the same time, it being invention, as you'd expect, inventing new wacky devices to use in skilling in combat.
Yeah, I mean, we did a forum post, I did a forum post just to gauge kind of players' expectation of what when you say invention, what do you think of? And it was just amazing, there was a complete 50-50 split. We did this in-house as well, sent an email around the team. And there's one half who I've got all these kick-ass items, all these weapons, gear, all this stuff. I just want to kind of augment them, I want to slap them on things, bolt on things to make them even better and to give me more options and strategy when I'm, doing PVM. Or maybe it's tools, my pickaxe. I want to be getting fishing XP when I'm doing mining. I want to.
It's a little crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why not?
I can see Timbo's balance now going.
Yeah, oh god.
What is one Osborne talking about?
I can just make these things happen now, right?
Yeah, that's how it works.
So. No, not at all. So that's one half of it.
Yep.
But equally, there are these people who just kind of I want to be Da Vinci, I want to make up, or I want to come up with these ridiculous bespoke items, unique items. I want to make a grenade. I want to make a train. I want to make a
train.
Why not?
A train.
We have tracks. We do have tracks that have Minecraft.
There is a train. There is a train in another slice of ham. But
oh yeah, there is, isn't there?
Regardless, coming up with something new, so it doesn't have to inherit any of the original stuff that I put into it. I just want to make something pretty damn cool. And those are two different prongs, and that's kind of how we're treating it.
Yeah.
So invention has two different parts. If I'm disassembling things to strap onto my existing weaponry, it kind of inherits some of those abilities from the things that I disassembled. I've made something that I can now use to fight, and that's broadening and giving me more strategy about what I'm using. But also, hey, I've just unlocked a new item that has a cool new ability. It's a machine that pumps out cannonballs or something. Makes cannonballs, because that's a cannon. We have those.
Very good point.
That's it. I flailed about and came up with nothing.
The dwarf spears to it.
Pie making machines.
Pies is always good.
That's our go-to example.
That's the test, is a pie.
Anything. One of the things we do have is we do have the results from the straw poll, which we can see right there, which is
It's
being
pretty shocking.
That's interesting.
So you're looking at it. Necromancy is correct, number one. Sailing. Something beats sailing? No way.
No, sailing second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sailing
but something
right,
has
okay,
beaten.
So which elite skill would you was you most excited by? So necromancy came in at number one with, I can't see percentages because I'm slightly blind, 37%, and sailing in at number two with 27%. Shape-shifting, which you'll have to explain to me, at number three with
It kind of
23%, and then archaeology is that one?
yes.
Broad archaeology.
Yeah, shape-shifting is the idea of taking on the aspect of some kind of animal, creature, just like momentarily, and then gaining some kind of ability based on that. Like maybe I could turn into a bear while I'm fishing.
Or a chinchomper.
Yeah, that's it, and just explode into some PVM. Like you just run in.
Yeah, that'd be
amazing. Turn into Chin Chopper, run into Calfight King, just
explode.
I mean, take him off the team basically.
Yeah.
Just kind of.
I'm worried about what the chat's going to say about this. I really am.
I would be that'd be amazing.
That might not be your thing. I mean, there's certain kind of similarities to summoning there, perhaps, but archaeology is quite nice. I like that. That's more of a seminal skill. You kind of
oh dear.
digging up things that doesn't necessarily have to be dinosaurs. Could be like old parts of Sentistan and old civilizations that could feed into like invention and things. Yeah.
I like the idea of sailing and archaeology in one kind of thing, like exploring new lands. It's quite cool.
Sort of digging up the history of them. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Saleology.
Yep. Sold.
Anyways, so there we go. Necromancy came out.
Necromancy. All right.
Like I said, it was only.
It's a
fairly smallish sample, but it's an interesting.
Yeah, that's. I'll be honest. That was kind of unexpected.
Yeah.
I think sailing would sail away with it really, but didn't.
Oh dear. Terrible. And then should we carry on with the discussion about invention? You were talking about the two prongs of one side being. Do you want to bring up some of the concepts we had?
Yeah, please do.
Do you want to bring up any particular pieces you want? I have it all, everything you sent me. So, do you want to go through it all, or do you want to save some for later, or do you want to bring up a piece?
Let's take a look at the grenades if you've got
grenades.
those.
Okay, grenades, please. Production man.
Grenades, please.
Here we go. And then grenades.
Follow on from the Chinchompas earlier.
Oh, just a second. So there we have grenades. Grenades are on the screen for the viewers right now. It's also going to put it on the screen for us as well. So there we go.
Oh yeah, there we go.
There's grenades.
So
that's from Frisbees.
You'll see on the left sort of a mood board that our artists were thinking about for the various tech trees that Invention could have on launch. There's a basic tech tree that you'll get right into, and that it uses divine energy primarily. And you know how that's sort of the green, glowing, bubbling Guthix juice.
We keep talking lava lamps, don't we?
We keep talking about lava lamps. Guthix juice keeps being mentioned.
Yeah, Guthix juice.
And so that's your basic tech, is powered by divine energy, which harks back to how Invention was originally going to be the crafting skill partnered with divination. And it still makes a certain amount of sense, so we're taking that route. Dwarven tech is big, heavy, sort of James Watt era steam engines, big flywheels, big
like machinery,
big rockets,
combustible, a lot of smoke coming off it. Yeah, we're moving more to kind of reds as well. You can see the different kind of primary colours that we're going for.
Dwarven tech is red, comrade.
So lava lamps and dwarven tech. So.
I'm sold.
Hype train.
And then
I'm on.
And then cave goblin tech, as we've seen in the game already, is very electric based, and that sort of early experiments in Van de Graaff generators and Jacob's ladders for the lightning storms.
Taking more of that blue theme then.
I mean, so I see some people worrying about tech level and things kind of pushing too far.
We don't want to move it too far on.
Yeah,
we've essentially everything we're using as inspiration from the game will form the basis, and we won't step too far on from that. We won't suddenly go from dwarves with unreliable steam trains to electric trains going 70 miles an hour from Prythanus to Demon.
It wouldn't be RuneScape Call of Duty basically.
Yeah,
advanced RuneFair.
Yeah, so grenades are probably the kind of the top end of where we're looking.
The thing when you look at grenades as maybe someone who's really in on the medieval style part of the game, and you look at how would a grenade fit in with the...
That's it, exactly. You're exactly right. So there were kind of compact, like, you wouldn't want to be near these things because whenever they were hit, they exploded and got you. But yeah, we've got kind of medieval kind of comparison points. Don't worry, we're on top of it.
Okay.
Yep. It's amazing how far black powder technology had come on in like the 1400s. So we don't really have to stretch all that much. I mean, yeah, the steam train is a bit of a stretch, but that's already in game, so we're not moving anything in there.
Okay, so any of the other concepts you wanted to go for? Do you want to go for another one?
Shall we start talking about the location?
Yeah, we should move on to the guild.
The location.
Yeah, the location. Yeah, we the Guardians are working on this. We've got kind of Mod Joe and Mod Alex, who are really strong environment artists, and we wanted to really kind of capitalise on them. And one way of showing progress in a skill is to have a kind of place that is yours. And the guild was the obvious option for us, a guild of inventors, and that really helps us to show that the player is a pioneer as well. If they are building it up themselves. They're going into an opening room, they've got a couple of characters with them who are looking up to the player and saying, you know, what should we invent now? And the player is the one saying, right, let's try out some dwarven tech. You build a dwarven room, you know, your laboratory, your workshop, or whatever you want to call it, and then you're starting to add machinery to it, and then you're becoming a pioneer. You're the only person in the world, well, I mean, apart from the other players who are pioneering in this skill. So there we go. So this is, I mean, go on, talk over.
Yeah, so this is one of the potential workshop rooms. It's a mood board rather than a finished product. So it's primarily to show you the feel of it. But it's the sort of place where you can imagine us using our aquarium tech, as the Guardians recently built, to allow you to really build machines in various places that perhaps all have different power requirements, and so you can only run so many of them, but you can have your pie machine over in the corner stamping out Admiral pies because you can't be bothered to grind the flour and make the crust and get all the fish to put in it, and but get all of that running automated in the background, and then you've got your workbench over there where you're doing your tinkering and so forth, and someone else has decided that actually they can't be bothered smelting, and they've put their automatic smelting machine in instead of the pie machine because they never use Admiral pies for anything. And that level of customization, where you put the things that you're using, which ones you use if you're limited on sort of not being able to just put down everything all at once and having to maybe choose which ones are active at any given time.
So the main thing is personalised to you. Yeah. It's also worth noting that you don't have to go to the guild to do invention. Yeah. This is just a kind of a track of progress. It'll be where certain inventions are. Yeah,
the machine portions probably aren't so convenient to carry around in a pocket.
Yeah.
But disassembly, if you're breaking down that Armadillo crossbow into its bits that you're going to use to create stuff later, you don't have to go to the guild to do that. You can do it literally on the fly. If you're slaying and something drops and you decide, oh, I want the bits out of that, we're planning that you can just say, well, I'm not carrying this around, disassemble, and it's
I'm imagining almost
bits and stored in your
choice between
high alching.
High out, that choice
you
of
can
do
say
I,
for the
do
cash,
I high out
disassemble for the bits.
that room plate body, for example,
but that high alching
granite
choice,
mall,
that high alching choice isn't. I mean, it's not how you're going to be training invention, which is also important to note. You know, you're not going to be sitting there kind of disassembling, bank standing, and just breaking everything down, or on your Slayer task breaking everything down. That's not going to be the core place where you get XP for invention.
I think that's one of the main concerns in the questions later on.
You'll get XP, but it won't be the vast proportion.
Yeah, it'll be sort of cleaning herbs equivalent.
Lower than that, really. I mean, more like adding herbs to potions or that level.
Zero.
You know, token experience.
Yeah, like one
XP for breaking a thing down isn't going to break the bank, but you should still be recognised for the fact that you are doing something invention and be rewarded for that. Building things, standing and building stuff that you've invented, recipes that you've unlocked, that'll give you a certain amount, but again, that's not the major focus because therein lies bank standing again. Finding recipes, since you're only going to do those once ever, that's plenty of scope there to give you a great big chunk of reward for you've found this new thing that you couldn't do before, now you can do it.
So there's a finite number of those, so you're kind of getting them and unlocking them.
Yeah, and then actually going out and using the levelable, augmentable weapons that you can make, actually making the perks and fiddling around with them and putting different bits in and seeing what that'll do. That's where the majority of the skill training is going to lie. That's where most of the reliable, ongoing experience is going to come from, we're thinking.
So I kind of wanted to let you, I didn't want to cut over you and let you kind of go your things. Jump back a little bit. You mentioned about the guild. You mentioned the aquarium tech. So is the guild looking like it'd be something that's player-owned house, a room?
We're looking into that at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably talking somewhere between the two because we'd like to be able to have more than one player in the same room. So we can't necessarily just build the room on the fly because it'll be different for each person. So some of it will be more like a player-owned house with hotspots. Yeah,
more flexible hotspots.
So some of it will be more like the aquarium with machines you can place wherever you want, and it's entirely up to you. But it should be very much, it's your guild, and you can choose where you're going to put everything, and that means everything, including the barrels in the corner, really. So hopefully, anyway.
I guess the final thing, is there any further concept art that we wanted to show? While we're doing the concept art thing.
We could show you one of the
inventors. Inventor or two,
yeah.
So we're going to one of the last things. get on screen. There we go. It's on screen for us. It's on screen for the viewers right now. So it's a goblin, and we'll see it in just a second. We have the goblin. Do you want to talk through what this goblin is?
How awesome he is.
He's simply another mood board. He's sort of, as you get these people who are following your footsteps down the road of inventing, it's the aesthetic that they're going to follow. It's what sort of tools do they carry around, what sort of focus do they have tech-wise, and how it ties into the various races' tech trees.
Yeah. Some people saying it's Yelps. Kind of reanimated Yelps.
Augmented.
Back from the dead.
Augmented
Back from
Yelp.
the future to kill you.
Is Yelp a
Invented.
Terminator? Oh God.
Yep.
I'm not sure. Was there any other concept art that you can remember that you want to put? Do you want me to just see if there's any other? Ask if there's any other interesting, eye-catching ones you want to?
Yeah, we had we chucked a load into a batch,
Yeah, we'll
so
see
feel
if
free
there's
to bring them
another.
up.
So we'll just bring up one more now, which you see there.
Yeah.
That's quite an eye-catching one. Lots of different things there.
I think our favourite one of this is the contraption that looks like a giant wizard's hat.
It does, doesn't it?
Which is great. I love that one. So this is your divination machinery, isn't it? Lava lamps.
This is your divine energy-based tech.
Yeah.
Hang on, so we can't wear the wizard's hat.
There is no guarantee that you can't wear the wizard.
I'm sure you can invent a way to wear it. It's fine.
Okay, and then we have another. This is another image.
Yeah,
here.
this shows the kind of the differences between the colour differences as well, which is really nice.
Yeah,
so when you've got your weaponry that's got a bit of a dwarven augment, you'll know it's got a dwarven kind of invention bolt on.
Yeah, that's the same workbench seen 3 different times essentially.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
your basic, your dwarven, and your goblin tech.
It might not be that interesting, but this is the kind of concept. No, sorry, wait a minute. It's obviously interesting. No, this is the kind of concept art that we do before design. We do this kind of stage of concept art where it informs the design and kind of inspires us.
Yeah, so it's more like, what do we think along these lines? These
Yeah,
lines?
exactly.
What do you think of this?
And you'll
kind
find that there's kind of a bit of back and forth, and then we'll like officially commission certain things. Like we're making this item. We're not necessarily actually making a grenade. It's just that thought of that's quite inspiring. Maybe we'll do a grenade, etc.
So moving on to the concept art, we're going to go into the questions shortly and our Rune Labs update. Quickly before we do, is there anything else you wanted to talk to the players about Invention before they bombard you with questions?
I'm seeing a lot of kind of misconceptions that kind of leveling up Invention will unlock items. So that's right for one prong, but with the kind of augments, we've been thinking about it differently.
Yeah.
I think it's worth mentioning that at level 1, it's not that I'm going to have to level up through Invention to suddenly be able to perk up or augment my Drygor's Tetsu, all of these kind of high-level gear. We're not thinking about it like that because that would be a bit of a grind, and it's like I'm working through stuff I don't want to use, and that's exactly what we're going against with elite skills. So it's more of a feeling of you will be able to do things to those items at level 1, your Tetsus, your Drygors. It's just that as you level through, you'll be able to do more things to them.
Okay.
Or you'll get better at augmenting.
And that's the whole point of the elite skills, not having the rubbish attachments.
That's it. You're getting good stuff at the start. It's just as you level up, there'll be, better stuff you can do to those same items. So we're looking at it from that perspective.
Okay. Anything else about Invention before the bombardment
rocks.
questions?
It's awesome. Yeah.
I like our prototypes. I particularly like the dev art.
Well, thank you.
Seriously, it's some of the best dev art I have ever seen in a prototype.
But the aim for Invention is that it's just so quick and easy that you're just in the field, you're doing Slayer, I've just disassembled that and immediately got what I want from it. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, we're going to introduce Mod Kelpie, who doesn't really need an introduction. He's doing an odd
Where are you going, Kelpie?
I'm going to shuffle in on the end.
he's gonna
Oh, on the end?
On the end.
Are you put on the end?
Am I-
Go on
am
then.
I-
Shuffle across on the end.
But what happens to Kelpie Cam?
Kelpie
I
Cam.
believe I'm on this one.
we can set you up a Kelpie Cam. It's Mod Balance is usually here, does Kelpie Cam. He's not here today. So everyone, most of you already know Mod Kelpie, but do you want to quickly introduce yourself
Yeah,
just
I'm
in
the
case?
lead ninja and the project manager in RuneScape.
So Mod Kelpie's on almost every single developer Q&A.
I'm the part of the regular cast, I guess.
Yeah, so this is a bit more of a special, but we thought we'd break up in the middle between questions. So the next up thing we'll have is questions. I've got loads here. We've got loads from the chat, loads from the Twitter hashtag as well, which we'll ask. But in between, to break it up, we're going to have the
I've got
Rune Labs.
One thing first on Invention. Seeing a lot of stuff from the chat about skill keeps, the symbol, that sort of stuff we haven't come up with yet, right?
That's true, yeah.
No
So
idea.
a lot of people are asking for that stuff.
But there will
don't
be
have that
skill
stuff.
I guess one of the biggest things is the colours as well. Like, what colours is skill cave going
man.
to be?
The most important thing is getting the skill right first of all. Like that stuff will come out later, but perhaps that's something the players can help us with, maybe.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, we could do that. Ideas are welcome.
Segue.
Crackling lightning going through your cape. Why not?
It's steampunk, right? Steampunk is brown.
Surely you should be able to invent your own skill cape. That'd be amazing.
Using the tech that you want.
Yeah.
All of these are options.
Yeah, but you have to disassemble all of your other skill capes to do it
Yeah. Okay.
permanently.
Why leave it to just skill capes? You know?
Disassembling comp cape.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, it's just a thought. So if people are interested, they can let us know their desired colours and
yeah. It's worth mentioning that there will be a player design document for Invention, and we'll be looking for feedback, and that sort of thing will also. Yeah, I mean, so there'll be so much crazy amounts of player input. He says, probably.
Rune Labs then.
Yes.
Rune Labs. What's happening with Rune Labs?
So today we switched over the criteria. So June's criteria ended and July's has started today, if you haven't already heard. So June's one was the high-level mobs. That's now ended. We've taken the 6 highest ideas and we've put that will go into a poll on Thursday. Oh, hi. Where was I? Oh yeah, so poll on Thursday, the update is due for November. So one of your favourites, Archie Time, came with the top idea.
Archie Time.
Anarchy Time.
Anarchy Time.
But so the top idea from that was the living wyverns, that's how it's pronounced, right?
Wyverns.
Yeah. So then we also had some ideas about, so the other ideas were runic elementals from Jets, the faction gathering parties from Hellring, the Ripper Demon from Omnis,
I think your mic might be off.
Am I?
Oh, they're probably trolling.
They're probably trolling.
Oh, you trolls! I hate you all.
How do I pronounce? That's the Acheron. So that's like the northern area that's not been discovered yet, I understand? Maybe? So mammoths.
Quick, make up more lore on the spot.
That's been discovered.
From Edelinth, I believe that's pronounced. And finally, the camel monster. Camels seem to be quite big in the chat recently. And that's from Cyrus Coy, if I pronounced that correctly. So those are the 6 ideas. They will go into the poll on Thursday.
What will
it's a multi-option poll.
Oh, is it multi-option?
Yes, so everyone will get 3 votes, and we'll definitely look to create the top 3 ideas that come out of that poll. And then if the team have any more time, they will look to do the full 5 ideas.
That's quite a nice bit of chunk of content then.
Yeah,
so with 3.
And as we said, coming out in November sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
50% chance of camels.
Oh.
In theory, right now.
Don't tempt me, Osborne.
Depends. If you persuade them,
yeah,
vote the camels, then it's
hard.
Well, I can't say
So the camels.
Camel monster. So yeah, but yeah, so that was June. So poll was on Thursday, as said. July's one is a quest, but it's a little bit different because we're asking players to ask us a question, something that you like answered in a quest. So it's a medium-sized quest, something you want answered. So the examples, I believe Dave, you create the examples.
Yeah, I checked some out. There was what's happened to King Valance and why are the ham pink?
Yeah, why are the ham robes wearing pink robes? So it was just a couple of example
Burning
questions.
It's vital. Well, we didn't want to throw out ones that were very obviously really cool. We wanted people to come up with their own.
Mm-hmm.
There have been some awesome ones.
Is that a way of saying that your ideas are terrible?
My ideas.
We didn't want to use the cool ones, so I used the not cool ones.
My best ideas are worse than the worst player ideas. Yeah.
So yeah, and just a bit more into that is we're not looking for suggestions about gods.
Yeah.
We've done quite a lot of gods quests already this year. We've got plans for all the gods, I guess. I mean, you can obviously say a bit more on that. Or maybe not, but we do have, we do have plans for the gods.
We do have plans for
so
gods,
we're not really looking for quests about the gods. And also we're going to be rejecting ideas that list rewards, because we've seen in the past with Rune Labs that people who put rewards, particularly in the titles, they get like an unfair advantage. People support stuff for the rewards. We're really looking for cool ideas for this time around.
So
any time around, we're looking for cool ideas, and we don't want that to be influenced by the rewards that it gives, because you could put a pretty mediocre idea there, but if you say it gives an amazing reward, lots of people are going to vote up. So
ultimately, with this suggestion, you're not asking for a quest you want. You need to ask a question
that you want
something you want answered.
Yes.
So.
We really like that. I mean, admittedly, it means it gives. You could put a quest idea in, and then it could just spoil everything. There's still an element of surprise to the quest. If you ask a question and we go away and come up with something that's pretty cool about it. So I would recommend that people just in their title, just put that question in there for the best chance of being accepted as the winning criteria.
And then like you can use the description stuff to fill out more about what you
we'll read that.
maybe expect. But part of it is we want to with quests we don't want to give you the story up front, because then what's really the point?
Yeah.
We want to surprise and entertain you, so we want to make sure you do that. So so as I said, no rewards in it, not about gods. Supporting ends Tuesday the 28th, and we've been seeing some cool suggestions already. So some like, who is the raptor? So Cloudless Sky has asked that, so that'll be finally find out who is in the suit. Man, woman, is it? Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Nothing.
Thing, something. Bees.
Necromancy.
A smaller raptor, that's my favourite. So you then take the raptor apart again, and there's another smaller raptor.
Nice. We've also got, how did Bob the Cat become a cat? That's from the Jeebus. So I guess like players like we already know the lore.
Yeah, we were planning to do something along those lines anyway at some point in the future, but that kind of accelerates it and gives it its own quest. It's nice.
That'd be kind of cool. What happened to Solus Delagar? Sorry. So that was the guy from the Wanted quest. Thank you. It's
it's kind of up in the air about what happened to him.
I think that you're the player who suggested it. So that's Dethel, I believe.
Yeah.
Is kind of like, he faked his death sort of thing. So it's you kind of talking about how like the player defeated him when he was kind of like tired and stuff, and it's like you defeat him at like, could the player defeat them at his like full strength sort of thing? It'd be kind of cool. Another final one that I've got here is Meg a dependable quest partner?
That's the one. I love that.
So obviously Meg, you send her away and she comes back with rewards like varying degrees based on your advice, but when you actually need her, would she actually be that
That's
useful?
it, kind of a team up quest with Meg. That'd just be that'd be amazing.
So so like there's some cool ideas already on there. Please submit your own as well.
Does anyone else have any other ideas?
I want to know who's Moya's mother.
Yeah.
I'm pretty cool.
That's cracking.
Don't know who that is. So.
I want to know what Lactifer is good at.
What is Lactifer good at? Is that the guy in Lumbridge?
Without a job.
Oh my gosh.
Is that the one with like lots of blonde hair?
It's just
the right
you
one,
talk to him and his sister complains about the fact that he never goes to work, I think, or something. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to know what he actually might be good at. There we go.
There was another one for Hans. Someone suggested someone wants to know about Hans' origin or why is he there and stuff.
He's the first character that is loaded by RuneScape's client kind of thing, so there's obviously something about him. I
had my own personal one. It's a bit out there. It was for Wire's Nob the Gnome. Nob spelled with a G. He's a fictitious character who lives in the Tree Gnome village. He lives in the Tree Gnome village. But who is he, and why has his wife been visiting the makeover mage? Because I think that'd make for a great quest.
This has led to a few kind of like in-jokes, particularly within the Ninja team.
Oh, Nob the Gnome.
Asking some very particular questions about makeover mage and...
Yes, I think that'd lead for a light-hearted.
You realise what you've done now, haven't you?
Hopefully, I've championed this idea. Someone's going to suggest it.
You double questioned as well. You sneak two in.
It's going to hopefully I've sparked an interest, and it's going to get a suggestion and some votes on RuneLab. We never know.
Reading the chat, I saw another one that could come out of it. So this is a kind of freebie. But what happened to Tutorial Island?
Yeah,
a lot of people ask about that.
Yeah, I like that.
Perhaps something about that.
Yeah,
it's still there, obviously.
Is it buried underneath the waves now, isn't it?
No. There's only ever been that one island.
Who would win in a fight for Argo and Araxor?
Anyway, even though we have lots of interest in this discussion about the Rune Labs, I think I'm going to send you away.
Bye, Kelby.
I'm going to send you away, Kelby. Unless you want to ask, we've got one big topic question this week, and you might be in a position to maybe answer it as well. I don't know, but. So with this invention, the big topic, we try and answer at least one of the big topic questions within the community, and the one that's coming up quite often recently is, any chance we'll be able to invent how to have 2 action bars? So at least they've tailored their topical question into an invention question. I thought, you know what, we'll tackle it as a big topic question.
Action bars is something we have, like having more has been something we've talked about.
I've heard Mod Pie talk about if you were to have it so that you have, let's say, control, and the same buttons was to activate a second control bar, that's not something the engine actually supports. It only works with certain things like the shift right now, because it's like, I've heard him mention, he's probably upstairs watching thinking like, what is Mod G? Why
am I not on this sofa right now?
He has mentioned it.
Run down.
To do with the engine can't support that kind of thing. It only works for the shift, changing your ability bars and those specific things, because it's been implemented to work for that specific thing a long time ago.
I mean, there's definitely technical hurdles that you would have to get over for it. I think
that's overcomable.
Just a general, there's just
if that's a word.
Just why do we need a second action bar? Why don't we just make it bigger? Or but I mean, I think, is there any balance things in there? Have we deliberately chosen number of slots or anything?
No, not really.
We'll get back to you, I
There's been
think.
some conversation about that sort of stuff.
I thought I'd include it because they worded it with the invention thing.
Credit Gene.
I'm all for it myself.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll go there and say it. If technical issues weren't a factor, I
thought we were friends.
I'd go straight for it. Well, you could still only press one button at a time.
That's true.
I'm pretty sure the team, when they were making adding more action bars that they've done recently, did look into it, and there was a reason why they didn't do it, but I don't have. If you actually let me know that the question was coming, I could prepared. Paxman.
I didn't let you know, did I? I let everyone else know. I shouldn't have kept you on. Everyone else knew you didn't. All right, anyway.
Am I going now?
Yeah.
No.
Goodbye, Mod Kelpie.
Bye, Kelpie.
And now we have Tom's flown by, so we've got loads of questions.
We've got
loads of questions to.
No, I like this.
Oh yeah.
So from smoke mirrors, do we gonna shuffle back up a bit?
What?
Let's use the whole zone.
Just make it look symmetrical. All right, from smoke mirrors, will any armor or weapons created from Invention be tradable via the GE?
Almost
Again, if these things aren't necessarily defined yet, feel free to mention that, I guess, and say as well.
So, I mean,
it's very unlikely. Very unlikely. I mean, the problem is if it's got any sort of unique traits, then you wouldn't be able to find it on the GE. Is the problem.
But that's the two prongs, isn't it? So the prong of I can augment my item is unlikely to be tradable.
Yeah.
But the making unique items may well be
Possibly tradable. Yeah.
The things that you build and that are unique to the Invention skill are likely to be consumable things.
Yeah.
Possibly stackable, possibly not, but of a sort that is more easily tradable on the GE.
Yeah.
The stuff that you augment, it's more likely that if they're tradable at all, they'll be tradable player to player.
Yeah, it'd be so personal to you. You'll have this weapon that'll have, I've managed to get a perk on it that affects this particular ability, and it's got a damage output increase, and all this. How can you search for that on the GE?
Okay.
I mean, it's very difficult to. Technically, it's near impossible.
Use more of a reason to train it to get it yourself.
And it really is about you creating that stuff and then upgrading it yourself, making yourself a stable of weapons that are useful in different situations and scenarios. Like, this will be my PVM mace, but this one I will use just for mobs, that sort of thing. So really, it's personal to you and how you upgrade it and the effort you put into it.
I just saw a brilliant question from the Twitch chat. I missed who it was from. It was something like invincibility, something like that. It said, "Can I invent myself a girlfriend?"
Not in the first batch.
Yeah, we were talking about automata for later on.
Oh my.
It's getting hot in here.
I guess
just be girlfriends.
I guess we'll move on.
No, we boyfriends too.
Yeah, exactly. All kinds of friends.
Bloody Scores asks, actually, I'm not going to go for that one. I'm going to go for Autumn Tempests. Will there be a sync for higher level weapons and armors, especially those that are over farmed with Invention?
Yes.
Hells yeah, underlined like 2 or 3 times.
Underlined, there
like
you go.
even more so in terms of
Item sync.
the item sync, but like we're not necessarily focusing so much on the smaller stuff. I mean, you can disassemble, your thousands of bows and everything, but we're really focusing on those kind of top end.
So definitely like God Wars armors, weapons, God Sword shards, definitely all that sort of stuff. Barrows.
Yeah.
All high-level PVM equipment will be disassemblable.
Yeah.
Disassemblable?
It's likely that the higher end stuff will have chances to give you components that you wouldn't be able to get any other way. So let's say there's a Drygore parts component that you need to get some of the better perk effects. You can't get those perks from doing anything else, or if you can, they're a very, very low chance. But if you use Drygore parts, then you've got a better chance of doing it. Yeah. So
it's about attacking demand, really kind of increasing demand for those, because you'll want, your Drygores to augment them, but you will also want to break down those dry gauze as well to complement, other weapons. Sorry, I keep using dry gauze, but that's just as applicable to pickaxes and other such items.
I had another question. I was just trying to look for it because it tied into that of someone asking about, is this going to be a skill that just costs bills to train? Like, if I would like to get 120, I mean, you mentioned dismantling dry gauze as an example there, or pickaxes, etc. Is it going to cost me a lot to train it up? Am I going to have to spend a huge amount of money? Similar to maybe construction or summoning, is that the kind of thing?
It's not going to be cheap. It's going to be similar to construction or summoning, probably. It's going to be a decent amount of stuff that you put in it, because it's an elite skill. This is aimed at people with the higher levels, and people with higher levels tend to have larger banks. But the real sort of dump all of these components into things and try out which ones go well with what and give you the best perks. If you don't choose to put the really expensive stuff into that while you're leveling, then you can do it cheaper than if you do.
That's it. I mean, you can't. We've determined the ways of training inventions, so you could choose how you train invention. It could be that you just want a smaller stable of things that you want to upgrade, but you just upgrade them fully up to there and unlock as many recipes as you can within that as well. And that will get you quite a way through invention, and that's not necessarily a huge item sink. Sorry, coin sink.
So a question from Twitter from JMess asking, how will Invention be introduced as a quest, such as summoning was, or is it going to be through something like just an NPC you talk to?
We'll probably have a series of, I hesitate to say tasks because we've got a system for tasks, but you'll probably meet an NPC that you suggest starting up a guild for, and there'll be a process of getting the initial machine set up, building the first ever workbench, building an invention-specific tool for your tool belt that's new and allows you access to the disassembly function, that sort of thing, which allows us to introduce the way it works. It's essentially a tutorial without actually having to beat you over the head with, this is how you do invention now.
That's a gift later.
Should be a little smoother. It probably won't be a full-on quest.
Response to the chat on this one. This is going to be an interesting.
It probably won't be a full-on quest, not off the bat, although an invention quest doesn't sound like an impossibility by any means.
Elite skill quest is a different question completely. I mean, obviously, by having multiple 80 skills as requirements, that already puts it into the Grandmaster range. But I like the notion of quests for it. It would probably come after launch. We haven't determined any of this. What's more important is we get those interactions right, make sure we've got a good map of items before we start thinking about tutorials and whether or not we slap a quest on there.
From Sammy, what kind of impact will Invention have on your daily scaping adventures? Well,
I'd imagine it will affect eventually most of the tools, weapons and armour that you might choose to use.
It's if you want to be that much better at everything you do across skills, then you'll want to use Invention. It won't be a huge jump, in terms of, we won't suddenly have a level 120 items, tiered weaponry. We won't suddenly have a pickaxe that is twice as good as a dragon pickaxe. It's just kind of incrementally improving all these things. And if you want to be good at all of your skills, you'll want to level Invention.
Flip-Flop 66, interesting name.
What a great name.
Do you intend players to profit from high-level invention? Being the first to a higher level in invention they're saying should unlock some epic perks and the ability to make money out of it, such as other skills.
I mean, like we said, if perks are tradable person to person, then the very best of them, the ones that come along once in a blue moon with the highest end ingredients, are probably going to command a premium. There's likely small amounts to be made from building the devices, the other prong of Invention, but that's probably not where the big money's going to be unless we put an absolutely killer device in.
You'll make a lot of money with these new packs and stuff as well. It's not just using Invention as a moneymaker. You'll just be better at combat. You're more efficient at combat and your skills and things. You'll make money that way as well, by able to kill stuff quicker.
We don't want to slap more aims on Invention
indirectly.
As well.
Yeah, exactly.
Hip Hat asks, what are the required levels to start Invention? You've mentioned 2 or more.
Do you want that one?
Is this a test?
Did he remember?
80 smithing, 80 crafting,
Yep.
and 80 divination.
Yes, well done.
Did it.
There you go. Frowen7's asking, what are staff's attitudes towards the skill project? So just quite an open-ended one. What do you feel about
Yeah,
it?
pretty much hype. I'm liking how the prototypes have come together. I'm going to quite enjoy fiddling around with it, to be honest.
It's been quite hard kind of letting everybody know what Invention is about, because obviously we want to get everything clicking, all of those interactions you've got and stuff. What we really want to do is say, hey guys, you're going to make this.
Yeah.
But we haven't got there yet, so it's really kind of hard to throw all these things at people and saying, how cool is Invention? You're going to make A, B, C, and D. We're going to get there soon, though. I'm hoping a live stream in the future, we can just start throwing things at cameras and say, look at this, it's going to be great.
Quite literally, literally throwing grenades.
Grenades.
Question coming from Android user 148. How do you want Invention to affect the economy?
We certainly want it to sort of just churn out all the crappy items that are sitting there, like maple longbows. Just like all the stuff you have, like instead of having bank sales and dumping it on the Grand Exchange, you just sort of have a bank disassembly day and get out all the crap from your bank and go, I don't want this, and disassemble it. So it should sort of help thin out like the mass stocks of unused items, unused PVM equipment, that sort of thing. We want it to have like a very positive item and coin sink to the economy without being over the top. I think that's pretty much where we want it to be.
That's good.
AS asked, what influence will the gods have on Invention?
Well, you're making it from God juice.
I think it was Guthix juice.
Well, specifically Guthix juice.
God.
Obviously, don't want to do spoilers, but no. But more
Hey, do you need
particularly,
a machine
Invention
to get
is...
Guthix juice? Because he's... I don't want to give any spoilers, but everyone knows he's dead.
Yeah, I was joking about the spoilers, don't worry.
To make like a soda stream for Guthix juice.
Oh, I like that. Stuff in some
soda
cola cordial.
Yeah.
You know. But
Mix it around.
ultimately, it's Invention. Really, the story of it is making the player more important.
Yeah.
Making the player more able to create things. We've lost a little bit of that godless vibe that we had in the original kind of designs when Marco was really excited. He's still excited about it. When Marco was talking about it in RuneFest, my Mark. So there's not that sense of making the godless as powerful as gods, which was originally one of the kind of themes. But it's more about the player.
Okay. A question coming from the chat from Hums. Hums was asking, if it's an elite skill, does that mean there will be no 99 and a cape with it? And the ceiling is 120, so that'll be like essentially your 99. Or will there be both a 99 cape or 120 cape, or is this later?
I think we're
TBD.
pretty undecided about that so far. There will definitely be 120 cape, and that is definitely the cap of the skill. But whether or not it's like Engineering in that it has a 99 and a master cape is still up in the air.
A question coming from PSO Live asking, will we lose the max guild access and have to re-max in order to get back our max cape as well as access to the max guild?
It's certainly the first skill we've launched since the max guild, so we're going to have to answer this question. I mean, we haven't come up with an answer. Most likely,
it's probably far.
Yeah,
but it could change. There could be a grace period. There could be some sort of 3 months you have access to it, but
certainly traditionally the max cape is gone once you've got a skill,
Yep.
and there has not been a grace period. So it may be that we're leaning towards that.
Okay.
We can always poll it.
Do you want to poll it?
Yeah.
do you want to lose your max cape?
Yes. That's not a great poll. Admittedly, no. Let's leave it.
Okay, leave it.
I know what my answer is.
Screaming at Cupcakes ask, what is the lowest tier of gear that will be upgradable in Invention?
Upgradable, we're thinking God Wars Dungeon at the moment.
So 70-ish plus.
75,
Yeah, 70, 75.
We're not thinking of anything. Certainly, we're not thinking of anything under Barrows. We're debating whether Barrows gear's included at this point.
What's nice about Invention as well is that future updates, can add rewards that plug into an Invention. If there's like a real desire to do Barrows, then maybe there's a Sliskay or Barrows related quest in the future that unlocks the Barrows gear as a reward. This is going to be a constantly evolving system, which is great.
Okay. Next one coming up from... answer that one already. 5X asks, could you please make the max cape requirement? That's the same thing. Who chose these questions?
Come on, pressure.
And then I just look at ones we've already answered, so we'll go to the quick fire on this one. Back.
Come on.
Will Invention possibly change the 92 as half of 99 for existing skills?
Yeah,
I guess it was answered at the start, so yeah, it will.
For sure.
Ultimately asking what ratio, this one was from the forums, what will the ratio of combat versus non-combat item improvements for Invention be?
Good question.
That is a good question. I don't have an answer for that yet. I think there was a certain desire around people I've asked in the office for combat items to be a focus.
Yeah, I imagined that. So when we were talking about the two different prongs, I could keep on going to my fingers. that one side is the kind of unique items, and the other is the kind of augmenting existing. The augmenting existing will probably take up a little bit more of a percentage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. From Nulo, how large of an impact will Invention have on battle? So what they're basically asking is, will a max character with level 1 Invention be now at a severe disadvantage to someone with 99 or 120 divination? Invention?
I wouldn't say a severe disadvantage. They would certainly won't have access to the same perks that level 99, 120 Invention
The gentle
would.
disadvantage, plus they wouldn't have as much choice in what they use.
So like the level 1 Invention dude can still have some perks on his weapons, but they obviously won't be as powerful as the 99, 120 guy.
I guess is it worth mentioning the perks might necessarily not be all to do with damage as well. It
Oh,
could
yeah.
be
Absolutely.
a very wide variety of...
Yeah, it could be that a perk gives you big head, giant head. We could have comedy things like that, or when I'm hitting somebody, as I said, I'm generating fishing XP. It doesn't necessarily have to be purely combat as well.
They also don't have to be purely beneficial.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
You may find that you make a perk while you're playing around with things that gives you a massive increase to damage, but a massive shortfall of accuracy, or
sets you on fire,
drains life off of you every time you hit things.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Twitch chat.
That's a good question. Can we do Zerka M?
Yeah, go for it. All right, so do you want go for it?
Will we be able to undo perks on gear if we decide we want a different one instead?
I'm glad you asked me that, Osborne. Yeah. So the way we're currently thinking about it is it's likely that you'll have a limited number of slots in any piece of gear to put the various perks that you've come up with. If you decide that you no longer need a particular perk, you can smash that slot empty again. If you decide you want all the perks back but don't need the weapon anymore, you'll probably be able to break down the weapon and retrieve the perks from it.
Ultimately, the weapon doesn't need to be destroyed, but the perk does. So the work you put into that perk, there's got to be some sacrifice. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting there.
Take it because you keep the same perk and move it
around all the time. I'm in the middle of a combat situation, and I'm just switching it up, and nobody knows what the hell I'm using, basically.
Captain Lime was asking, how often do will Invention receive add-ons? Were we getting new kind of inventions every now and again, or is it more of like a one-time update deal?
We really like the notion of, so we haven't actually mentioned it at the stream yet, but they're kind of tech trees.
Yeah,
like technologies that you're using. I think we had a poll at one point. I don't know, can we still do the poll? Do we have time?
All right, we've got another poll.
2 minutes.
Yeah, the idea of the...
do you want to explain the poll quickly so they know exactly what they're voting on?
Yeah, so we really like the idea of tech trees using existing races and their technologies to be a kind of a path through Invention, and they'll have different mechanics. So when we launch, we'll have divination, as you've seen. So you have human, dwarf, and cave goblin. So electricity, steampunk, kind of... No, steam. Yep. And divination, lava juice. But there are other avenues that we could do. So there might be a big batch that comes out some point in the future. But as I said, we could also do smaller updates as rewards for other things. But those other techs that we could do in the future, I'd quite like to poll.
Does our tech?
It's not on the poll. You've come in too late. So here's some ideas that we've had.
So the guys, you'll see the poll in the chat. Feel free to vote away. Click on the link in the chat and click on the straw poll link. Vote away. We'll come back to it in 2 minutes.
Imagine there's a second batch. What do you want?
All right. So talking about tech trees, while we wait for the results from the poll to come in, tech trees. You want to explain more about tech trees?
I think it's a look and feel thing in part. Gnomes, tree gnomes use clockwork, elves use crystal. That lets us add some visual diversity to it. There's also, it lets us add whole new strands of things to the skill that don't currently exist, that we won't have time to do for an initial launch. Some people in the office have mentioned automata, like basically pets that follow you around and do things for you. So you have a mobile forge that follows you around and you can smelt on it. As an example. Various things like that let you sort of carry a piece of functionality with you as a pet. That would work well for clockwork, for example. I think we could think of examples for other tech trees as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm distracted by the poll because
All right,
we've got a runaway winner.
Let's look at the poll. So in the poll we have the actual options were Dragonkin, Elf, like Elven Tech, Avancy, Ogre. Is that biotech? Interesting.
Yeah. That's imagine kind of
swamp
toes, intestines.
And Gnome Clockwork. Well, Gnome Clockwork was a
birds.
Flop. Like the gnomes are a flop. Right?
No one cares about gnomes.
Poor gnome.
Rip in peace.
That's a shame.
Not the gnome.
Dragonkin Arcane Tech is a very clear winner there on that kind of.
There's some that we didn't include that we quite liked. Are you like kind of Terra Guardian, so original humans?
Yeah, the humans' homeworld with their, I think they use mana and sort of runes baked into portals and barriers and all that sort of thing.
And I came late to the party with zombie tech, didn't I? And you said
zombie tech.
No.
Undead tech. I'm just imagining kind of living dead material.
Isn't that necromancy?
Yeah, maybe you should make an elite skill out of that. Anyway, but yeah, that's a good option.
I think Tazar.
What would that
lava,
like everything, like that kind of like fire, lava,
obsidian,
the shards. Do you know the look of the the kiln cake? What's it called? The Tosmarket. Whatever it is, right? Do you remember the first original look of that with the plates down it, like that kind of
slate look?
Yeah,
it's really nice.
I like that Tazar, the fact that it's like it's RuneScape's own created race kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
They are cool.
Anyway, move on with more questions. That was the poll. A couple more questions. We're going to Henry the Chump. It's also asking, will Invention mainly affect me in my PVM or my non-combat activities?
Yep.
So
both of those.
Yep, we'll do.
So like your fishing rod, that crazy stuff. All right, I'm Rubik asking, when Invention comes out, people will be able to get the max level before it's not phrased very well, so I'm going to rephrase it.
Wow, harsh criticism.
Chains with the burn.
Sorry, I'm Rubik. It's like one of our top guys, and he always asks interesting questions. Sorry, Rubik. Essentially, it's because I'm going to expand on it as well. Essentially, we'll be able to use bonus experience, lamps, penguins on my Invention when it comes out, and excel through the skill.
There is a 3-month period where you can't use bonus experience and lamps on elite skills in general, but that also apply to Invention. Okay. Whether or not things like they apply after that, we're not sure because they use different XP curves. So we're still up in the air.
Certainly apply differently.
I think look at it again. I think the question Rubik's asking is before you can use that. So within those 3 months, will players be expected to max it in those 3 months? Like, is that a reasonable target?
We haven't balanced any sort of progression time.
No, okay. It might be possible, we don't know yet.
Yeah. Our players are quite dedicated.
Yeah.
It won't be too far off the time spent on existing skills.
Yeah.
So that gives you a ballpark.
Yeah.
Just we're laughing at. Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
Can people at home see this?
There's a Moltare GIF.
You can put it in the Twitch chat. Put that GIF in the Twitch chat.
Am I going to be internet famous now?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Someone has made an incredibly good GIF.
People need to kind of Photoshop things into that.
Yeah.
I'm saying yellow face.
I'm fairly sure everything's going to be photoshopped into that.
Shake weights.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, yes.
What a GIF.
That escalated quickly.
It really did.
We've actually gone over time, so I'm going to come back. We'll go over one more question.
More.
All right, Bloody Zark asks, how do you plan to make shields a more viable option with Invention?
Yes. Not explicitly with Invention.
He's like, yes. He's like, no.
Maybe.
Certainly shields will be among the things that you'll be able to perk up and give them more sort of different ways in which they're useful than there are now.
Yeah.
I don't think that Invention will be the thing that fits the I feel I ever need to take a shield along with me because I'm taking that much damage.
No, I would hope that we would not fix shields, but make shields more worthwhile before Invention came out.
This is coming from somebody from the Ninja team.
Yeah,
so there we go.
I've been sat there as well with one team of the meetings. We've discussed the shields.
We've already talked about shields and defenders, so yeah. We'd hope they'd be fixed by then. Not fixed, better.
There'll certainly be, as I say, shield perks.
But they'll be in Invention as well, yeah.
And then you got raids as well, which, as I mentioned last week, shield will be useful.
Yep.
XIK is asking, will you poll Invention/Elite skills at all with the in-game player polls at all, or is it something that
I'm sure we will have some polls about Invention.
We will have
and
polls
skills.
about Invention most likely, but we're being a little bit greedy in terms of the concept of Invention and releasing it because this is something we feel the game needs.
As well as elite skills.
Yeah. The notion of 120 skills is something that is a different topic that may be polled. We still need to discuss and things like that. But elite skills we're being greedy.
Another one that has come from the Twitch chat was asking about will Invention appear in my skills tab? So I guess they missed the start of the stream.
Absolutely,
it might be grayed out before you can access it. Something along those lines.
If you don't have the requirements, it'll be grayed out.
Okay.
But it will be in your skills tab. It will be your part of your total level. So yeah.
All right, cool. And I'm pretty sure that for the most part, unless there's a few more at the bottom there, any of those you'd like to go into? Where did the design idea for Invention start, and how did it develop to where it is now? It's quite an in-depth.
You were there from the start, weren't you?
Yes. I think the first version started as a twinkle in Mod Mark's eye, and then the second version started based around a perk system that now doesn't exist because it wasn't as good as what we've got now.
Wow.
There was going to be almost like Final Fantasy-esque, the spreading tech tree that you can only put a certain number of pegs in.
Yep.
But that really didn't allow you the same sort of creative control that the current perk system is planned to. The rest, the disassembly came from the fact that it had to have the economic impact, so if you're going to take things out of the economy, you've got to be taking things out of the economy. And the bits where you invent things are pretty much because it's an invention skill. I mean, it follows a certain
without
logic.
inventing things.
Yeah, I think there were
a certain
times where it's
logic.
called engineering. I remember engineering design briefs going around.
Which is a story no one's ever heard before.
Yeah.
I didn't even know
that
about it.
used relatively recently.
Yes.
Yes,
Moltare. I keep saying it.
Everybody is saying ETA. Everybody.
It was one of the questions, and it was one of the questions. It's also one of the questions I was told.
Dare you invoke the wrath?
Skate around asking ETA.
Yeah, well, so
but you've mentioned it yourself.
I'm going to
now,
skate
so
around the answer a little bit.
I don't have
We
to.
can just cut the stream as he says it.
So obviously it's a thing for RuneFest. You've probably seen the RuneFest logo on there.
It's
so
it's
we'll be
brown,
talking
it's
about will we have something quality, something bigger and better to show at RuneFest. Whether or not that's on the computers or on the stage hasn't been decided yet. But we're just hoping to get out as soon as possible. We haven't got a date. Yeah, I know. Sorry, apologies. Don't use the word soon. But you get the sense that RuneFest, we're going to have much more to show you. We had so expect it within the next year, and then we're just going to pull it back as far as we can from that.
Okay.
In the next one.
I guess that sets expectations of its.
Exactly. I mean, yeah.
It's ready when it's ready, kind of thing.
Yeah. The countdown starts now. Set a 12-month countdown.
We want to get it right, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I guess, and that's it to wrap up. Is there anything else you want to mention on Invention before I wrap up today?
No,
I think we've talked about it for a long time. So I guess big
awesome.
thank you for coming on and talking about Invention. You mentioned you want to maybe do something in the future when you've got further things.
Yeah, that's it.
You said about throwing grenades at the camera earlier. So.
Well, it's kind of very obvious that we're not showing anything in game. We'd love to do that. So when we're at a stage where we can start, as I said, chucking it at a camera, I think
so maybe a few months down the line or sometime we might see you back again.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the other thing, we're going to wrap up the stream there, guys. The other thing to mention is that there is another stream on later this evening. It's at 8 p.m. game time. 8 p.m. game time, and it's a beach party happy hour with Mods JD and Mods John. And he said to mention there's also going to be XP buffs and increased drop chances in the crater.
That's what happy hour is.
That's what happy hour is. That sounds pretty cool. So be sure to be notified to be on the same channel we're on right now. So you'll be notified about that if you follow the channel. So please make sure you follow the RuneScape Twitch channel. Be notified about that stream later. But it's at 8 p.m. game time. I guess the final thing to say is again, thank you for sharing Invention thoughts.
It's awesome. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else I need to mention. So goodbye, and we'll see you next week. Oh, one more thing, quickly. Is it you're going to be joining us more often, week to week?
Sporadically. I'm hoping like every other week, pop in.
You're a design man.
There's a lot of space on this sofa, so I'm going to put my butt on it.
As we mentioned a few weeks ago, what's your new title exactly?
Lead designer.
Lead designer for RuneScape.
Yeah,
so it'd be cool to have you
Yeah, just talking about
Take
kind
part.
of direction for the future. That's what, as I say, we're working on 2016 at the moment, kind of like the big things for that. So have some juicy things to talk
So
about.
Mod Cow people will have some competition for the for the big man on
Osborne
the
Cam,
big man
Elf
on the
Cam.
couch. He's got an Illuminati sign. Anyway, big thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you later this evening or next week. Bye. Bye.
Jerry, bye.